everyone, welcome to a new episode of In Other Words with Danielle and Zara.
So this is a podcast where we talk about a variety of subjects, from dealing with conflict to what to do with your life.
Wow.
So in other words, we talk about all the things.
Right, so for today's episode, we're going to start promoting our local brands again.
Yes.
So for today's one, I want to promote a South African brand, also a female-run brand
Yes, we love
called
that.
My Own Cup. And they basically make menstrual cups. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a tiny little cup that works as a tampon, except
Yes.
it doesn't have the absorption. It's like you don't have any risks of toxic shock syndrome or anything like that.
Yes.
I've been using one for over a year now, and it's really been a game changer for me.
Yes.
And yeah, what I really like about this brand, like apart from it being South African and female run, is that they also do a lot of work in communities to help women learn about their menstrual cycles and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yes.
And I'd be keen to talk about that in a future episode.
Yes.
Okay, so today I am very, very excited.
Same.
It was cool just because I feel like we got to speak to you guys
Yeah.
a little bit. So hopefully you all got this. Unless you were taking a day off Instagram, then I'm really sorry.
Shame.
And if you're not
Missed out.
following us on Instagram,
Yeah, you better go do that.
yes,
In
at-
other words, _podcast.
Exactly. So we basically asked a bunch of questions via polls. So basically a this or that, like do you like this or that?
Yes.
And we got some really interesting responses.
Yes.
So I'm excited just to share what you guys had to say and what we think.
Indeed.
What I thought was really cool is that I looked through and we had like up to 100 people
Yeah,
respond, which
that's
was
a lot.
awesome.
Yeah.
And I just assumed because, I mean, generally, as much as you'd like it to be broad, it's a certain like group that are responding because generally it's the people we know and the people in our immediate circle. But there was like not a single person that had all the same answers as me.
Yes.
So I was like, wow, we are getting like a good
Yes.
rounded view, or as
I
round
agree.
as we could possibly
Yeah.
get. So yeah, do you want to kick us off, Danielle?
All right. So the first poll we asked, are you a night owl or a what's the other one? An early bird. I keep on thinking it's like morning pigeon or something. I don't know why. Anyway, so the response was mostly in favor of the night owl. About
Yes.
67% of people said that they are a night owl.
I'm a night owl.
Yeah, same.
But not willingly.
No, I want to get up early and
I
do stuff in
so
the
badly, and I
mornings.
have the personality of a morning person.
do.
So do you.
I do.
But here we are,
Yeah.
sleeping in.
It's too cold.
It is cold.
actually.
Sean is an early bird, and she said, I love the feeling like I have more time in the day. I prefer to start work earlier so I can end earlier. I actually have a bit of a day ahead of me often and after work. And I relate.
Yeah, same. Whenever
It's nice to feel like you have time.
Whenever I get up early, and by early I mean like
8 o'clock
8,
instead of...
maybe 7:30 if I'm having a really good
Yes.
day, then I will start working immediately, and then it'll be really nice.
Yes, it's like, ooh, I can conquer this
Exactly.
day.
But then I find I just hit this afternoon slump completely. I
It's a thing for
cannot
you.
do work in the afternoons.
Danielle's like, it's that time of the afternoon.
I can't do it. So yeah.
Cool. Then the next one was, do you prefer dogs or cats? And the majority of people said dogs, 66%.
Indeed.
And do you want to read the response that we got for someone, Danielle?
Yeah, not me though.
No. Who said that she prefers cats.
Yes, okay. So she said, I absolutely adore everything about cats. Not only are they cuter, they are way softer and smarter than dogs. The love you receive from a cat is 10 times more genuine than the love you receive from a dog, because dogs just love everyone. They don't need constant attention and love to explore, but you almost always know that they will come back to you. It's an obvious fact that cats love to purr and some say that a cat's purr is healing. From personal experience, I believe that to be true. And cats love to bring you all types of presents. This just shows you how much they love you and want to look after you. I hope this doesn't make me seem like a super crazy cat lady. I'm just a regular crazy cat lady.
Love that.
Same.
And like, I agree with everything she's saying. And that is the very reason why I love dogs more.
Yes. Yeah, I would definitely classify myself as more of a dog person, but I've also never owned a cat. So I feel like it's a bit difficult for me to relate to cat
Yes.
people. But I've met some really lovely cats before.
Yes, I've also met terrible cats before.
But I find I like dogs because, you know, you can play with them, run around with them.
And because they do love you regardless.
Exactly.
I don't care if my dog loves everyone.
Yeah.
Yes. And like,
but also, like, my dogs definitely have their preferences, especially my Rotty. He certainly has his preferences on who he loves the most.
He doesn't like your gardener, and your gardener is like the nicest
I know.
person. And he's known your gardener forever.
I know.
Shout out to you, Kenny.
Exactly.
Okay, the next one some would consider controversial. I personally don't think so. Okay, this was, do you have an Android or an Apple?
An Android surprisingly won this one, but with only 53%.
Yes, I also think realistically Android is cheaper in South Africa.
I think everywhere. I think Apple is just expensive, full stop.
That's true. I think it's more of a like normal for everyone to own Apple. Like I know in Australia it's like dominated mainly by like an Apple market. Roxy gave us an answer of why she is Apple, and this is pretty much the same reason as me. She said, so for me, my first proper phone after my BlackBerry that I had, as we all had, was a hand-me-down iPhone from my dad. I think it was an iPhone 4, and because it was my first phone, I sort of started off with Apple and saved everything on my iCloud. Also started an iCloud email, which I've used ever since. But that is pretty much the main reason that I still use Apple. It's just easier for me with all my things stored on my iCloud, and it's all I've ever known. If I do get an Android, I would have trouble figuring it out. And that is me.
Yeah, I have only ever, I've owned a BlackBerry and then Android after that. I find iPhones incredibly confusing.
I find Android and Huawei. My mom has a Huawei, and I'm young and technology should come easily to me, but I'm here and I'm like, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah, no, like someone can literally ask me to take a photo on their iPhone. I'll be like, I don't know where your camera is. Like, I don't know, it's just very particular about like how you're supposed to swipe up on things.
I find that on Android. That's weird.
I think it literally just comes from using it though.
Yes,
like you will
100%.
pick up on it if you actually had to get one. And same with me.
Exactly.
But I'm not closed off to having an iPhone. Like if for whatever reason I get a Mac for whatever reason, then like I'd probably get a phone as well just because it makes sense.
Yeah.
But now I don't have either, so like why would I get? Our next one was coffee or tea, and coffee won this one with 60%.
None of these are like so far have been like hugely to one side.
No. And I wasn't surprised about the coffee thing. Most people like coffee. I do not like coffee. But we asked, and this person said that they like the taste in the morning and it makes them feel alive in the morning. So fair enough.
Yes,
you know?
I've seen people who are genuinely miserable before their morning coffee.
Yeah. That to me is a bit concerning. I'm not lying to you. Like,
so for me, I'm a coffee drinker. Danielle is like an avid lover of tea. Her mugs of tea are huge, and she's so easy to make for because you chuck a tea bag in and put water in, and that is the end of it.
I enjoy the pure taste of tea.
The pure taste. For me, I don't think I'm a coffee snob. I won't drink like Frisco because that's not like coffee. But like Jacobs and all of that I can do. But some people are very extra about their coffee. But it's like a lifestyle for some, and to each their own.
I come from a family of like coffee appreciators.
It's weird that you are a Murray without.
I like the smell of it and I like the concept of it, but the taste is disgusting.
Even her dogs drink coffee from time to time.
They do. But yeah.
Yes.
Nothing else to say about that really.
Then the next question we posed, so formal,
I don't know,
was, when you're going on holiday, do you prefer camping or hotel? And the answer we got was
61% hotel.
Hotel, 61%. Hannah, I love Hannah, said, when I'm on holiday, I just want to relax and be comfortable and not worry about bugs or being cold or anything like that.
That's fair enough.
And I get you.
I love camping. I've gone camping since I was a child, really.
Your parents met on a camp, I think.
Yeah,
they went to the Cedarburg.
They like connected on a camp. It's in my blood. But I would never want to camp in the winter because cold. Yes. Camping in the summer is the best. But it also depends on my mood, you know?
Yes.
Because I like camping. I don't mind camping in a tent at all.
I do.
Really?
Tents make me like claustrophobic and it's so small and I don't like it.
Let's get a bigger tent.
I don't even know how to put up a tent, guys.
Okay.
Yes. I will say, when I say hotel, like
nice
I don't like fancy hotels when I'm
neither.
on holiday. Like, give me like an easy bed and breakfast, or Airbnb has become
genuinely
so much cheaper.
I don't understand when people go overseas, like unless you're filthy rich, of course. But when they go overseas and then they spend so much money staying in a nice hotel, because it's like, aren't you going to be walking around and seeing the sights?
You're going there to sleep or
like
something.
Airbnb is great, or just staying in like, I don't know, like a small little flat, save money where you can.
I 100% recommend you watch Trey Kennedy's video, Hotels Be Like.
Oh, yes.
On YouTube. It is
funny.
Hilarious.
Okay, another one that we asked was, do people prefer to swim in the pool or the ocean?
Yes.
And pools won with 57%. And I actually like to swim in both, but we asked Larissa. I am a mermaid. I asked Larissa, my cousin, and she said she prefers the ocean because the ocean is really pretty, and she prefers the salty ocean water to pool water, and she also likes the waves. Understandable.
All right, what is next?
City or country?
Yes.
So we asked people whether they preferred the city or the countryside, and the country one with, is that 58?
58%.
I can hardly read my handwriting. 58%. And yeah, I actually agree with this. In our first episode that came out of season 2,
yes,
we both said we like the idea of the city.
I know, so people
also,
are like, these are liars.
Yeah, we like the idea of the city, but we also like country for long term.
Yes, I would live in a city for a good while.
Yeah, like a few years, but then
I'm an old lady.
Yeah, when I settle down, then I would want to
yes,
be in the countryside, grow my own vegetables.
We did get a nice answer from Jess about why she prefers the city. She said, as much as the country can be nice now and again as a break, I love the fact that in the city there are so many things to do. Coffee shops and small shops on every corner. I love that there is almost always a vibe at some points of the city at night. And there are just so many possibilities of so many things to do and see. And I get that.
I completely agree.
And every city has a specific vibe or culture anywhere in the world, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Then the next one. Oof.
The office or parks and recreation.
Yes, so this is our first major.
Yes. So the office one with 88%. I do feel though I feel more people have watched The Office than Parks and Recreation because The Office, it's a bit more iconic.
Yes.
But
even just both. The memes, they are everywhere.
And then Luke answered in defense of The Office, it is a show that I can switch off and easily binge watch. Did he mean switch on? I don't know.
No.
Switch off and okay.
Yes.
I get it.
So he's switching on the TV, but he's switching off the rest of the world. Okay.
Also, I don't know where else I'm going to get my daily dose of secondhand embarrassment during these lockdown times. Besides, who can ignore the sex icon that is Dwight Schrute?
Amen. What is it? Beats Battlestar Galactica and
Bears. Battlestar Galactica.
I love it. He's one of the funniest, most iconic.
So good.
Yes.
All right. The next one was probably a bit ambiguous, but I feel for a purpose. But anyway. So this one was, do you believe in white privilege? And 82% said that they do. We actually got a response from someone saying that white privilege is not something you believe in, it's something that exists.
Yes.
Which I think reflects both of our opinions as well.
Yes. So, do you want to read or should I?
You may read it.
Okay, so Lydia responded, and I thought this was quite a good response. She says, I don't have majorly reading skills. Holy cow. I don't have majorly strong opinions on this, but I do think that white privilege is something that comes into play quite frequently. We've seen it with American police and school systems and so much more representation in media. And there are also so many more hurtful stereotypes connected to people of color. In order to understand the way privilege works, you have to be able to see the patterns in the bigger picture in social life. But you also have to care about individual experiences from people. Even if you look at something as simple as everyday things. It's being white and able to go into a store and easily finding the right products catering towards your hair or skin tone. It's being able to turn on the TV and seeing your race being represented in a fair way. I don't think having white privilege or recognizing it is inherently racist, but it still exists because of historic racism and bias.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else to add on to that because I actually feel the exact same way.
Yes. And I think people can very much get on their high horse and become defensive because, especially as a white person, I understand, it feels like you're being targeted or being attacked.
You didn't work for what you have. A lot of people get offended a bit when you say, oh, you have white privilege, because they can be like, well, I'm not rich.
Yes.
And, you know, I worked hard to get where I am and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But I think it's important to recognize that privilege goes beyond just economic factors.
Yes.
You know?
And it's an historical thing, you know. And I always explain it like this. Like, a white person gets to start at the start line of life and work their way to the finish line, whatever that looks like. It's just an analogy. Whereas a person of color is, because of historic reasons and racism, starts like 5 steps behind.
Yeah.
So,
or even further.
Yes. So the reality is just it's easier to start in life. And like, you can disagree with me, but like statistically, like I ask you, like, who are the poor people in this country and across the world? It is never white people.
Exactly. That's the thing, really. Like, people will often go on a, like, say, oh, white privilege doesn't exist in South Africa because we have Black Economic Empowerment, BEE, and like white people can't get jobs. And I'm like, okay, but have you looked at how many poor people there are?
Yes.
And the color of their skin is what?
Yeah.
Black. So,
and I don't think you have to apologize.
No, it's completely useless
for white privilege.
Like, what is the use in apologizing?
Exactly. And the reality is you are born into it. It's just recognizing it and seeing, okay, how can I use this?
How can you use your privilege to
as
help others?
Yeah. Alrighty. Then our next question was, do you have regrets? And I was weirdly surprised by this answer. I don't know if that's ignorant of me.
Yeah, most people said. Yeah, 75% said they have regrets.
Yes. Okay, do you want to read the first answer coming from one of my favorite people?
Right, so Emma said, she said, to put it simply, what's the point? So she doesn't have regrets. If you learn from your decisions, good or bad, then you don't need to be regrets. To have regrets or regretful.
Yes.
You can't live your life as what ifs, because you'll steal the joy you could get from where you are at the moment in time. Learn from mistakes and don't beat yourself up about it. If you don't make mistakes, you don't grow. # no regrets.
What a gem. And that's my answer. That's why I say, like, if I had to choose, like, yes, I've made so many mistakes. And
but you don't like sit in bed and think, oh, no, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I did that.
And I feel like if that's you, please stop being so hard on yourself.
Exactly. It's fine.
Yes.
The next one was, do you prefer to text or call? And 64% of sane people said that they prefer to text.
Danielle.
No, genuinely.
Danielle.
People who just call for no reason. Why?
Listen here, guys. Forever, since I've known Danielle, she is the most awkward human on the phone. She will answer the phone.
Hello.
Like, it'll be like,
I'm just trying to be really intimidating.
Me or Devin, like, when she answers the home phone and I'm around, she'll be like, hello, and she'll have this conversation. I'm like, she could be talking to a stranger or like someone she loves deeply, and she's like, monotone.
So which do you actually prefer?
So I don't know, I have a love-hate relationship with my phone. Because less people call, I'd say I like calls better.
Okay.
I saw something the other day about texting. I am not very good at responding
to
not. My messages, unless your name is Mom.
Or Danielle.
Okay, granted, I respond to Danielle almost immediately. I'm so sorry. But it said, like, you know, when you had mix-its, you'd be like BRB, and then like 10 minutes later, like 10 minutes, I can't respond. And now it's like 3 to 5 business days.
Or more.
Yes. But my thing is just, it's not that like speaking to people bugs me. It's just I always want to be able to sit down and give a proper response. And I don't know, I find like messages overwhelming.
Oh, same. I prefer texting, but if I could, I would just rather speak to a person.
Yes.
I actually don't speak to many people over the phone, though. I just
she doesn't speak to many people at all.
Yeah. But like, what is so important that I must be messaging someone about 24/7?
Yes.
Tell me that.
I agree.
Before we continue, just a quick pause to remind you guys to follow us on Instagram, in other words, _podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Anchor or Apple Podcasts or Spotify, whatever.
Do you know what displeased me, Danielle?
What?
That we had like almost 100 people respond to our polls. So few of them follow us.
Disgusting.
I forgive you.
It's okay.
We love you.
All right. The next question was, do you prefer Instagram or TikTok? And most people said Instagram, or was 78% in favor of Instagram.
Yes. What is yours?
TikTok.
Okay. You can talk a little bit about it now, but I only have Instagram, so I would pick Instagram.
Yes.
And you send me the important TikToks.
Exactly.
So I don't need to actually be on the app.
It's always funny to me when people send me like Instagram reels but they're literally just TikToks, and I'm like,
Same thing.
I literally saw this 2 months ago.
I told you on YouTube, there's now a new thing that says shorts. So it's basically TikToks on YouTube. It's
everyone's trying
now.
to compete with TikTok, and I'll tell you why I like TikTok so much.
Because you love doing the TikTok dances.
Yes, no, I don't even, the side of TikTok that I am on, I don't even see TikTok dances. I don't even see it.
So you don't even do them.
So the way TikTok works is that it has an excellent algorithm. Like, I haven't actually seen an app that's algorithm is that good.
Is it banned in America yet?
No, it's not. So basically, the amount of times it shows you the same kind of videos that you interact with, that you like, that you watch the most. So basically, the more of a certain topic or type of TikTok you watch, the more of that you're going to see, which can be a good thing and a bad thing, of course.
If you're watching dodge stuff. Then.
Exactly.
And there is a very dodge side to TikTok.
But I don't necessarily see that.
Okay, then we had straight hair versus curly hair. Like, who has, not what do you prefer.
And it was pretty much split down the middle.
Yes, for a long time it was 50%.
Yeah.
But
now it's 52% have straight hair.
Yes, you have straight hair.
Yeah, and growing up I actually had curly hair. And then
I did actually know that.
Like about 2 years ago, or like 2 or 3 years ago, then it went like properly straight.
Yes.
But I mean, I have a bit of a wave, but definitely not curly.
I'm definitely not straight. I am straight. I'm single, guys. Yes, you want to read Sean's answer? Yes. This is so funny to me.
So
Sean is my bestie.
Zara asked him if he ever wished that he had curly hair. And he said, actually, there was a stage when I was reading Harry Potter that they described the Weasleys as having red curly hair. My hair was fairly more red when I was younger, and I remember thinking that combination might look nice if my hair was curly, but it wasn't like, if only my hair were like that vibes. It was more just, hey, that might have been cool.
Might have liked you a little bit more if you had red curly hair. That's the hair for me. Okay, next was, do you prefer fiction or non-fiction?
To read or watch, and most people, 73%, preferred fiction.
Yes. So Hand Me Over, shout out Thrift Store. She said that she prefers non-fiction because she thinks that she's not a huge fan of like descriptive language. So the red-haired girl looked at the blue sky and felt, you know.
You should be a writer.
I know. She said that she prefers like more to the point, and she is like an academic by nature. She loves learning, and like non-fiction just seems to feed into that a little bit more, and that's where I am.
Okay. And then Caleb wrote,
Murray,
I find fiction is generally more interesting and entertaining. As for me, I only watch movies and no books. I personally find them better to watch as there is more happening, which is fair enough. I am a reader.
Yes, you are.
By nature,
and
I will read most things and a watcher. I love movies and I love books. I find people sometimes have like this weird superiority complex about liking books more than movies. And I'm like, you can literally enjoy both. Both are this wonderful form of art that entertains you. So
I think reading, I don't know, it's weirdly, like you can read and go to sleep, whereas if you watch something, your brain is still a little bit more active
that also
and stuff
just has
like that.
to do with like watching a screen, if you know what I mean.
But I feel like TV and stuff has become a little bit more stimulating on an intellectual level, on an artistic level versus in the past. But that's just my...
And I definitely read and watch more fiction than non-fiction. Obviously, like I'll watch movies based on true stories, and like I'll read autobiographies or biographies or whatever. But I will always choose a nice fiction book over a non-fiction book. Personally, I
think as your goody Christian girl, I read a lot of Christian books. Not Christian fiction. I can't stand Christian fiction.
Me neither.
Sorry, y'all. Okay.
The next one.
Black Lives Matter.
Maybe a bit more controversial. Black Lives Matter. 69% were in favor of Black Lives Matter rather than All Lives Matter. So when we say Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, we're talking about like the movement, obviously.
The idea.
Yeah, the ideas behind it.
Yes.
So I'll read the first one. This person, Justin, voted for the All Lives Matter. But he said, it's not that I disagree with BLM. And the way I see it is ALM, but Black lives need to be focused on now. It's like I get a cut and someone gets shot. Both injuries matter, but the person that gets shot needs the attention right now. My cut does need attention, but the person that got shot needs more attention right now, if that makes sense. Then you also went on to say that like people shouldn't ignore other issues as well.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that's a really good way of looking at it.
I think to a large degree I agree and I understand.
Yeah.
And I think it's just like people's understanding of what Black Lives Matter looks like versus all lives.
Because you could take that response and apply it to Black Lives Matter as well.
Yes.
If you know what I mean. Like that's the whole thing of having
Premise.
having an injury or like a worse injury is also used by the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yes.
Okay, the next, also more controversial.
Yes.
You pro or anti-vaccine? And most people, 94% surprisingly.
I was actually surprised by this,
Me too.
to be honest.
It's pro-vaccine.
Yes.
So I'll read what Jordan wrote. So she said, for me personally, I'm pro-vaccine purely because of the unpredictability of the virus. Speaking about COVID, obviously. Many diseases have been completely eradicated due to vaccines, and I believe the COVID-19 vaccine has the same effect. You could get COVID-19 and be absolutely fine, or you could get COVID-19 and die. The risk is simply too big for me, and the vaccine minimizes it. The vaccine doesn't cure COVID-19 or stop you from getting it, but it gives your bodies the antibodies you need to fight the disease. I personally want to put myself in the best position that I possibly can health-wise, so that if I get COVID-19, I can hopefully be one of the lucky ones. The other reason is my profession. I'm a teacher. Students are struggling all over the world trying to do online work or not doing any schooling at all, and that's not fair on these children. All children have a right to education, and I feel that teachers and students being vaccinated can help us get students back on track and open schools again to give.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that answer. I think it's also like well thought out and informed. Yeah. And she's speaking about how the reality is that people can still get COVID with the vaccine. And yeah, there are a lot of unknowns about the vaccine, but there are a lot of unknowns about COVID. Yes. Someone said anonymous said she's anti-vaccine. Hi, our family has never been one for vaccines for many reasons, so it is how I was raised. We got our baby shots and that was it. I wouldn't say I'm completely anti, I just don't feel comfortable taking the vaccine as of now. This being said, it could change in the future, and I would rather wait it out to see the long-term effects. So I guess I'm not for and not completely against the vaccine. I don't know if any of this information is useful. It is useful, so thank you very, very much for that.
I think for me, and I like both of those answers. I think both of them very mature.
I agree with
and like well thought out.
Yes.
I'm probably more on the pro-vaccine side. Yes. However, like I do also have my reservations because I know, so the way that the vaccine works, my friend Brian sent us a very long message about it.
Brian, I spoke about him every episode in the first season.
So that was a lot, but
37-minute voice note, y'all. If you want to listen to another podcast, contact Brian.
Yes. So basically, like the COVID vaccine uses RNA technology, so it basically like uses the spike proteins of the COVID-19 virus. This is very different to any vaccines that have ever existed before.
Yes.
So I think like that's probably one of the reasons that I have my reservations, and also because there's different like variants of the COVID-19 virus. Yes. Does that mean that I won't get a vaccine? No, I'm like most likely will, to be honest.
Yes.
I'm healthy, I'm young, it'll be very unlikely for me to get a bad reaction, and if it means that things can go back to normal, then like I'll happily do it.
Yes.
And yeah, like my family is mostly pro-vaccine, although like when we were babies, my mom put us on more of like a delayed schedule for vaccines.
Your mom is a nurse though, so it's not like she's completely
exactly, because the way
uninformed.
And like I do agree with her on this, the way that babies are given vaccines now, it's like hectic. It's like 9 in a day or whatever, something ridiculous.
Hectic.
Yeah, and like it's this tiny little baby immune system, and I'm not saying that doctors are out like trying to kill babies or whatever. Obviously not. Like they know what they're doing, but I mean, if your baby's not going to creche or whatever, it doesn't necessarily need to have all of them, and you can delay it.
Yes.
So.
I think for me, I mean, my mom is in the medical field, and even like the doctors that she knows in a scene, even they are split on it.
Yes.
And I mean, we can hopefully have an episode where we discuss it more in depth.
I'd be keen.
But I'm very much neither pro nor anti. Again, as Danielle, I will probably just get the vaccine because if it's going to help, like,
stop the spread.
Yes, then I'm on board with that. Again, I also have my reservations, but I think something that I do want to mention is I think I am very anti-fake news. So
yes,
please stop spreading fake news.
That's actually the thing. Like, I don't care if you are pro-vaccine or anti-vaccine. Like, I understand having concerns about the vaccine.
Yes.
I really do. But when people send completely fake articles, like someone told me, oh, all the animals in the vaccine trials died and they're giving that to us, and you literally go Google it and it's completely false.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
don't do that.
And for me, like, I don't know, for me, vaccines aren't a huge issue, but for some people it is. And I, like, there is a level of respect that needs to be given.
I completely
And
agree.
so personally for me, even like at the moment in celebrity culture, like specifically in America,
Very shamey.
yes, it's very much like, if you don't get the vaccine, you are a selfish person. And I just feel like that's so unfair because people might have like deep convictions. Maybe some people are just poorly informed. But if someone has a deep conviction that they don't need to get the vaccine or they shouldn't, then I don't think it's fair for us to call them like horribly selfish.
No. And like, I like, on the other hand, like, I understand where people are coming from when they feel that frustration, because the only way that a disease can kind of be stopped is with people having like the vaccine or like having immunity from getting COVID, although people get COVID multiple times, some people. So I think it can be frustrating, like getting the vaccine and then you see people are still just, you know, going about and spreading the virus.
Yes.
And it's like, come on, let's...
All right.
Yeah.
I think we should speed through the next ones because y'all are probably getting so bored. Okay, Adidas or Nike?
Adidas won 58%. I literally don't care. I don't have a preference.
Our friend Brian responded, shoe is
shoe.
shoe. In-person classes versus online.
76% preferred in-person class, which I agree with completely.
Yes. If it's
Online class
online,
is not it
I
for me.
might fall asleep.
Yeah, it's for me. If it's online, then it doesn't exist.
Okay. Do you believe in God or a higher power?
87% of people said yes, they do, which is actually higher than I expected.
It is higher than I expected, but I think I understand.
Yes.
I think because
everyone wants to have some kind of hope or like try to understand the world in some way.
Yes.
Yeah. Both of us are Christians.
Yes.
We have an episode about that.
Yes, called Why Christianity. Check it out.
Exactly.
Do you believe in astrology? Not astronomy, as some believed. Astronomy being the study
of stars and the planets and all that, but astrology in terms of like
horoscope.
Yeah, horoscope, star signs, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So 84% do not believe in astrology, and I find myself with the majority in that case.
Agreed. I've always found the horoscopes very broad. It's like you can, but we're going to discuss it now.
Okay, so Andrea said, I'm not like a super hardcore believer in astrology, especially daily horoscopes. I think those are made intentionally broad, so you find a way to adapt them to fit a circumstance that you currently experience or have experienced. But I think that there's some truth behind the more in-depth charts that take into consideration your sun, moon, and rising signs. And I also feel that shifts in the universe can have an impact on your mood and what goes on in your life, because I like to think that all things are somehow interlinked and or connected / happens for a reason.
Got it.
Fair enough.
Yes.
And then the next one.
This is a difficult
was,
one.
do you prefer humor or intellect in a partner? And so 57% chose humor. Our friend Autumn, she chose intellect.
Yes.
Because she said that she likes intellectual humor. So like, you know, when you have to really think about a joke or something.
Yes.
Something that's not just like a blatant joke.
Yes.
And, you know, I would like to think that I have that kind of humor.
I think you do.
But I just say so many that's what she said jokes.
Yeah, so
I blame the office for that.
Yes.
But I think it's very intellectual personally.
Yes, it is. Yeah. What would you say?
That's difficult. Probably intellectual, to be honest.
Me too. I think I enjoy conversations of depth.
Yes.
But at the same time, if someone
doesn't get my humor, then it's a bit sad. I'm fine to be the funniest person in a relationship. So it's okay.
I just don't want someone to like be super serious.
I know.
I'm more attracted to intellect, but I think I need humor in my life.
Absolutely. All right. The next one was, are you more passive or confrontational? And 63% of people said that they're more passive. And
Yes.
that's good honesty. I don't know. I think often people think that they're more confrontational than they are, especially online. People are very quick to confront online.
Yes, I think I'm more
I'm way more passive.
confrontational because
I hate conflict.
I don't enjoy conflict, but when you're in ministry, you kind of get used to it. But at the same time, I also always have something to say, hence the podcast. One person said this, and I think this is why a lot of people lean towards passive. Sartik said, I'm assuming it's in reference to this poll. Yes. If so, it's mainly due to feelings of anxiousness, also a slight fear of being misunderstood if being confrontational. But it is something that is serious and negatively affects myself or someone else, then I would make an effort to communicate that. Thank you so much for that answer.
Yeah.
I agree. I think confrontation can very quickly become like aggressive or scary.
Yeah. And like you might not understand each other's points of view or just assume what that other person's trying to say.
Yes, the heat of the moment can be scary.
Next one. Should everyone go to university? 72% said no, everyone should not go to university.
Yes.
There were a lot of misclicks on this one.
Yeah, we asked and they were like, oh, I clicked the wrong one.
Yeah.
People thought that they were saying, did you go to university?
Yeah, so take that into consideration. It's probably a higher number who say you shouldn't go to university.
Yes. I think Jonathan's answer is very much our answer. So thanks, Jonathan.
So he said, I'd like to start off by clarifying that like many of my other opinions / beliefs / understandings, I've not spent too much time looking at it, and this is just my current view. But I think that university has its cons. Firstly, for most people, it'll come with debt, and you'll spend several years in your 20s unable to financially support your own life, marriage, or at least it'll be incredibly difficult to sustain. There are also many jobs where experience is key, where you can work your way up or make a living for yourself by starting your own business. Although this is harder, it allows for a lot more flexibility and has a higher ceiling than own business. Than most jobs. Sorry. There are definitely people that are better off going to uni. There is definitely a case to be made for not going.
And I have nothing to add. That's a brilliant answer.
I think there are some things that you absolutely need to go to university for.
Yes.
Like if you want to be a doctor, you have to go to university. I'm sorry to say. But yeah. And like if you love learning, a lot of people think that you should only go to university if you know exactly what you want to study. But like there are some degrees that are quite broad.
Yes.
And like if you love learning, then go. It was quite broad.
Yes.
And if you like learning, then go.
Do it.
But obviously like it is expensive.
It is expensive.
It's cheaper here than most countries though. So
it would be so nice if it was just more affordable and available to more people. Okay, this one. We're going to try not to spend too much time on this, but people were passionate about were Rachel and Ross on a break.
This is a good one. Okay, so Sasha said, I used to think they weren't on a break, but I've recently just started watching Friends from beginning to end, and now my view is this. If Rachel really didn't want them to be on a break, she shouldn't have allowed Mark to come over, knowing about Ross's insecurity with Mark and their relationship, if that makes sense.
See, a lot of people just forget about that part.
Yes.
It's like they
Yeah, although I actually watched this episode like 2 days ago. And what happened is Rachel phoned Mark, but she didn't actually invite him over, but he came over. But I'm still like, why would you phone the guy that your boyfriend was really insecure about at all?
It's like you phoning Devin when you guys are in a fight. Not you phoning Devin, you phoning me.
Yeah.
It's going to make Devin so insecure.
I know, exactly.
Come on.
So yeah, I do agree with Sasha. Do you want to read the next one?
Yes. Okay, so this was from Ash. She said, okay, so I don't really think they were on a break. However, I don't think they weren't. So in my opinion, the term on a break generally means you're taking some space from someone, but you haven't actually broken up. But that is also interpreted differently by each individual. So in regards to the Ross and Rachel thing, to Rachel, on a break was just taking some time and space to calm down and figure out what was going to work between them and the whole Mark situation. Although that gets difficult, as she says, get back together. And then she says they weren't broken up when he slept with someone else. Ross, however, interpreted it as a breakup, which does not excuse him sleeping with the copy girl. I love that that's her name. Shame. Because if he really loved her, he surely wouldn't have slept with someone mere hours after their breakup.
Yeah. I do have my feelings about the situation as well, because to me, on a break is not breaking up.
Yes.
There's a clear difference in my opinion. So yes, they were on a break, but it absolutely does not excuse Ross's going to sleep with another girl
What the
literally like
heck?
hours after they were on a break.
No.
And like I understand, it's so funny because these are fictional characters, and like I understand obviously that he would have been upset, especially after learning that Mark was at Rachel's apartment.
Yes.
And you know, it was like in that kind of situation where he was in a bad situation basically. And what also irritated me though, so like I'm not on Ross's side, but I'm also not on Rachel's side.
Yes.
Because like she held it over him forever. And it was kind of like,
But
okay,
it
it's time
added
move
to the
on
show.
now.
It's like a running joke.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yes.
can people change?
I believe they can.
88% also believe that people can change.
Yes. I think because I've seen it in my own life and other people's lives. Should we just do a rapid fire for the last couple?
Yes, I read.
Okay, cool. So
So we
biological
asked-
child versus adopted.
70% said biological child.
Yes.
What do you think?
I am very pro-adoption, but that's because I don't even have a desire to be pregnant.
I am pro-adoption, but I would like to experience the whole thing.
The whole thing sounds good.
Yes.
Okay, scheduled or spontaneous?
57% said scheduled.
Yeah.
Good to know yourselves. Lots of people like to
Yes.
think that they're spontaneous.
I need a
schedule.
warning. I need a warning.
Yes.
It's very stressful if I don't have one. Sweet or savory?
57% for sweet. This is difficult for me, but I think most of my favorite food is savory.
Yeah, I would say sweet plus pesto.
Okay.
Okay, and then
Fox.
CNN versus Fox.
This is very
just-
random.
Yes.
71% for CNN. And yes, I agree with that.
I think we should just end off reading that last
Yes, because
answer because it
I
was
liked
from
it.
Janie and I thought it was really good. She said, "Oof, I can't pick one. Fox is full of fake news and CNN abandoned most of their journalism to make jokes about Trump, so it really made me call their professionalism into question." And
Yeah,
that is pretty
I
fair.
completely agree. But yeah,
This was so fun. Thank
I
you
really
for
enjoyed it.
answering. Follow along. You guys are awesome.
great. Have a good day and goodbye.
Goodbye.